Well, I don't know how much the Canadians are paying their new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, but whatever it isn't enough. Not to put up with this blowhard today.
Get your response to this too. But Mr. President, you had said that Canada should become the 51st state. Were you chosen?
No. Well, I still believe that, but you know, takes two to tango, right? But no, I do. I mean, I believe it would be a massive tax cut for the Canadian citizens. You get free military, you get tremendous medical cares and other things.
Yep, the Prime Minister visited Washington, D.C. He was here in this country to meet with Donald Trump, who's just an overbearing blowhard. And he knows the Canadians don't want to become the 51st state, but yet he went on and on and on and on about it. Here's just a little bit of Trump.
There would be a lot of advantages, but it would be a massive tax cut. And it's also a beautiful, you know, as a real estate developer, you know, I'm a real estate developer at heart. When you get rid of that artificially drawn line, somebody drew that line many years ago with like a ruler, just a straight line right across the top of the country. When you look at that beautiful formation when it's together, I'm a very artistic person, but when I looked at that beauty, I said that's the way it was meant to be. But you know, I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it.
Well, once Carney was allowed to get in a word edgewise, he made it clear, nope, it's not going to happen. I'm not doing it. We're not doing it. We don't want to do it. Period.
You know, it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
It's true.
We're sitting in one right now, you know, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the President just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the President has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And then throughout the entire press availability in the Oval Office, in the garish, ridiculously looking Oval Office, now with all the gold, fake gold everywhere, Carney was not allowed to even talk very much or answer a question. He kept trying. I mean, even when Trump was going on and on about Canada becoming the 51st state and all the benefits, which there wouldn't be any, really, Carney was trying to speak and he wasn't allowed to speak. And then the MAGA fake news people that are in there would hardly give him a chance to talk. So he spoke afterwards to reporters, had his own press availability on top of one of the roofs in Washington, a place where I used to do my live shots. And here are some of the things he had to say.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde.
Tonda McCharles, Toronto Star. I was watching your face through the meeting in the Oval Office, and I wondered what was going through your mind when the President talked about erasing the artificial border and how he criticized your predecessor and Madam Freeland.
Thank you for your question. I'm glad that you couldn't tell what was going through my mind as that was going through. With respect to the first point, the President has made known his wish about that issue for some time. I've been careful always to distinguish between wish and reality. I was clear there in the Oval Office, as I've been clear throughout on behalf of Canadians, that this is never going to happen. Canada is not for sale. It never will be for sale. Some things, as I said in the room, Some things are never for sale, and he agreed with that. I distinguish between the two, and then with respect to the importance of reestablishing a constructive relationship for negotiations of a partnership, of an economic and security partnership, which is what we were here for. I look forward, not back, and I think we established a good basis today. JP, we have a lot more work to do. I'm not trying to suggest at any respect that we can have one meeting and everything's changed, but now we are engaged and very fully engaged.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister. Ashley Burke, CBC News. What specifically did you say to President Trump about lifting tariffs on Canada? And based on your conversations, what do you think it would take to get those tariffs lifted, and how long could it take?
Well, I can't answer the second part of your question because we don't make that decision. But certainly press the case in a number of areas where we think the tariffs should be lifted. And specifically, I'll give an example with respect to the scourge of fentanyl and the considerable efforts that have been made at our border and behind the border in terms of raids as well. Huge investments in border personnel, in drone surveillance, Black Hawk surveillance, and then those are being reinforced, as you would have seen during the campaign, commitments to another 2,000, in effect, 1,000 border guards through CBSA, another 1,000 RCMP, further efforts there. And what we're seeing is huge results for this. Canada's contribution to this problem, cross-border problem, was always very small, but it's down by over 90% with the efforts. And it is an absolute focus of the government. So that is an example of where we would see the case being very strong for the tariffs to be removed. We've made that case. We'll see where that goes. In other areas, the tariffs are, in our view, not in the interests of American competitiveness and jobs. We have more work to do on making those cases on that. Thank you.
And if you didn't think that Donald Trump was overbearing enough, I'm just going to let, as this video ends, just let some of what he was saying run over my logo and such. So here it goes. Enjoy.
Very friendly conversation, but we want to make our own cars. We don't really want cars from Canada. And we put tariffs on cars from Canada, and at a certain point, it won't make economic sense for Canada to build those cars. And we don't want steel from Canada because we're making our own steel, and we're having massive steel plants being built right now as we speak. We really don't want Canadian steel, and we don't want Canadian aluminum and various other things because we want to be able to do it ourselves. And we, because of, past thinking of people, we have a tremendous deficit with Canada. In other words, they have a surplus with us. And there's no reason for us to be subsidizing Canada. Canada's a place that will have to be able to take care of itself economically. I assume they can. I will tell you that Trudeau, when I spoke to him, I used to call him Governor Trudeau. I think that probably didn't help his election. But when I spoke to him, I said, so why are we taking your cars? Why are we taking we want to make them ourselves. I said, and if the price of your cars went up, or if we put a tariff